Okay,
Okay.
so Mr. Tibbles has departed from the rest of the group. The rest of the group is on their way to the skyport close to the center of the city. Aust, who knows where that elf went off to. And you, with a folded up contract that you have sort of strong armed your way into the possession of, is sitting in your breast pocket of your waistcoat as you head to the darker, seedier side of town where you have a contact.
For the loudest, most raucous inn, and someone like Mr. Tibbles would be an easy one of those inns or taverns that always rowdy, 24/7.
You find yourself going through the streets, and as you mentioned, this is the sort of town where somebody who looks the way that you do, with your sort of like credulous, pleading face and your tip-top shape waistcoat, would probably be an easy mark under ordinary circumstances. This is the area of town where the poor and downtrodden live, those who are perhaps looking for work, unable to find work, or have been sort of crushed by the the increasing industrialization of Guildkeep.
It's been gentrified.
It has in a big way. You're kind of surrounded by slums, people begging in the streets, and one of the few sort of respites within the city for people of this low socioeconomic station, which is a growing station, is the Flange Head, a rather dusty and grimy dive of a bar and tavern with an inn up top, rooms for rent, as well as a few apartments, which not exactly understood whether those apartments belong to the owner of the Flange Head or if they belong to someone else.
I would say that as he's walking through this area of town, he's definitely coming from, the more academic side. He's coming from the college town. His prestidigitation is up just a little bit, and it's not anything necessarily visible. It's more of a general magic vibe. So he is radiating an not the mark you think I am. And because he's learned that this is something that is particularly effective in this place where magic is not common. Like, if he can just keep his aura up for a little bit, even in a small, it's almost like a wave of energy that he gives off.
And as you walk through, a little gaggle of kids just starts like laughing and sort of cajoling. Rabbit folk of your nature are not very a common sight in the city, and they start to crowd around you until one of the older kids in and among them suddenly like hushes them and like puts arms up to their chests, and they sort of fall back. You realize that one of them was probably going to try and cut a purse or pick a pocket, but the older kid recognized that you are some sort of magic user, and he basically reined in his little flock.
Can't pull an Oliver Twist and the Artful Dodger away. I also like to think that they're cats as well, so it's really an Oliver and Company type situation. Anyway.
Sure, yeah.
So I'd say when he arrives at the Flange Head, he doesn't make much of an impression. He's definitely been seen there before. This is probably where he is renting apartments. The barkeep would recognize him, one of the patrons of upstairs. Mr. Tibbles kind of always he's one of those people that always has like a small smile on his face, which also makes him look more like a mark, which is sort of like, oh, look at that happy buffoon just kind of wandering through your town. The bartender, he starts to whistle, and I don't know exactly the tune, copyright pending, but he whistles a jaunty little few notes. The barkeep nods and says, upstairs, door from the left. Mr. Tibbles is probably staying in one of these apartments that's probably nicer, mostly probably made nicer through magical means. They're all kind of run down.
Yes.
But I would say that this area is by the Mr. Tibble's use of him and his organization. Mr. Tibbles, under the authority of the organization, rented these rooms and made some sort of agreement, I would say, with the owner and barkeep of a don't ask, don't tell, but they paid generously and they paid up front.
The barkeepers in this part of town and the owners of establishments, they rarely ask questions anyway.
Yeah. And they also know that if there's a particularly rowdy bunch, all they need to do is call the wild rabbit from upstairs, and all of a sudden feelings change. So Mr. Tibbles probably hasn't overexerted himself in any real way. He hasn't, made hailstones as big as cars rain down or anything, but he's probably done some prestidigitation that looks far more impressive than it is, and people are like,
there's very little you have to do.
Right.
Particularly with your level of charisma, people seem to take notice when you say and do things. That added with the magical effects that you can produce on command, and the sort of healthy fear and respect that people have for magic users in this town, you have not had much difficulty. It's been a mutually beneficial arrangement all around.
Mr. Tibbles was the first member of the organization to make it to this island, and this is sort of the base that he has set up. I would say he's probably a higher ranking member of the organization, perhaps having been around since its inception. At this point, I would say he has probably been on Crescent Isle for a few years. I don't think he is brand new to Guildkeep and the Crescent Isle. He probably has been here publicly for about a year, but I feel he would have been in disguise for several years beforehand. So this is sort of, these apartments would be a resting place, a safe place, but also he's getting ready to move and prepare.
He's got to be able to keep on the move. He's got to be able to tack like that.
Yes. So I think that with him, he is nearing his final preparations.
So you follow the advice of the barkeeper. She knows when to keep her eyes on her own work. But you follow what she has told you, and you go upstairs.
The rooms are mostly unoccupied. He would receive notice when people come and go, but he is anticipating a friendly arrival. Friendly in that they both work for the same cause. They're not BFFs or anything. This contact is the person that I'm hoping to be able to go to who can forge this document for me and make it look credible.
Okay. You're not there for but more than a few moments when you hear a knock at your doors. The doors to your apartments.
So I go over and open it, and this person is standing there.
This person is, in fact, 5.5 feet tall. A rather skinny, older-looking woman, a tiefling woman. Dark maroon of skin with these little half-moon glasses that are sort of partway down her unusually pointed nose. And she has like these small black horns that kind of come out and then to the side of her head. Good evening. Afternoon, perhaps.
So Mr. Tibbles would give a polite bow, pick up his fez, and go, "Oh, I am so pleased that you arrived in such a fortunate time, as I do have some unanticipated fortune that seems to have fallen in my lap."
Very well, before you say more, shall I come in? I do not wish to invite a draft into your apartment.
Yes, please. So I invite them in and close the door. So his room, like, this is a rundown inn. This is, is every shady bar ever. But this room looks like Sherlock's study. It's full of these comfy, cozy chairs, bookshelves with spell books and weird things in jars. Clearly, some things have been put up and modified by magical means. The room is far bigger than it appears to be on the outside. It's Doctor Who rules. But It's very comfortable and cozy, and he knows that he can kind of pull a Merlin and get everything to shrink down into his bag, so that he can take it with him as needed. So he would invite her in and invite her over, and with a snap of his fingers, he is preparing a pot of tea.
I apologize for my brusqueness. The walls have ears in this part of town. Less said with doors open, the better.
Oh, quite right. Yes. I have found, though, that those with ears are particularly deaf when it comes to certain machinations.
Yes, but perhaps, like many of us, ears are open to opportunity. Let's keep the opportunities to ourselves.
Indeed. So, did you have comfortable travels? Did you have any difficulties, finding your way into Guildkeep?
Some lingering eyes upon me at the gates. But beyond that, Guildkeep welcomes all kinds.
It's very, very true. I did ponder, after some of my travels on the continent, I did posit perhaps putting the fez over the ears, but it's who I am. And honestly, they itch terribly if they're hidden for too long. So embrace the weird. That's a common expression that I've heard some of the youth saying.
In my time here, I found an inn with the Guild of Notaries, as well as other government-adjacent positions.
How fortuitous. Tell me more.
I understand that you have some need of, shall we say, legal or legal-adjacent services.
You are quite perceptive, yes. That, or perhaps your glasses are peeking into my pockets again. So he'll pull out the folded piece of paper and present it to her.
Her, yes.
Present it to her.
Ostensibly her, yes.
Okay.
She reaches out and she takes it. She sort of snatches it away. With it almost like her movements are very inhuman. Is the thing. She has demon blood and everything.
Sure.
And so she snatches it away between two sort of gnarled fingers, and she reads it extremely quickly, with her eyes sort of like rocketing back and forth in her sockets. She says,
You'll notice that a few of the provisos, the legalese, did need to be modified in order to protect myself and make it more advantageous for us. But you'll see that everything is there, and he has signed. However, we do have some further modifications that would be needed to make this a legal document in the court of law.
Some modifications, specifically to make it more legal? What should you like to be done with it?
Well, I would like, as you can see here, we are expected to be quite wealthy should this pan out. But I would like sort of a clause that states, should I fail to return, that certain payments would be paid out to my estate, and obviously you know to whom that would be, who the beneficiary would be, so to speak. I am anticipating that I may be leaving Guildkeep for quite some time, and I would like to make sure that my heirs are taken care of.
Indeed. And what of the originator of this document?
Oh, he may live. He's so self-absorbed that I doubt he'll notice something like a pesky old rabbit just up and leaving.
If he does, if he has complaint, it could be trouble.
Well,
I tell you what, why don't you just leave it up to old Vidalia here?
Well, I was hoping you'd say that, because he would like us to leave from the skyport in approximately 26 minutes. I knew I could count on you. Do you know of the rest of the scouts that will be arriving shortly? You have an anticipated time of arrival for them.
Reports are conflicting. Some expected within a few days, others waylaid by border trouble along Calamine. Who knows when they'll be here?
Yes, we did cause quite a stir in Calamine. It does make sense that their borders are a little wrinkled, so we say. Let's say that we halt all preparations until we have our players in place.
Very well. It makes sense to me.
She kind of folds up the contract and she says,
Allow me to pull a few of my strings, call in a few favors. We'll get this situated, and we'll be all set and ready for the next thrust of the plans.
Can't thank you enough for your attention to detail and your dedication. It's quite remarkable, really.
Is there anything else upon your mind, then?
Well, would you care for a spot of tea? I will have to vacate the premises a little earlier than intended to, go on this minor inconvenience of travel, but I should be back shortly. Would you care to move into these rooms, or should I pack everything?
I think the fewer connections between us that may be drawn by an outside observer, the better.
There you go with that logistical mind, yes. Do enjoy our talks. You see the world from such an interesting perspective. Always cautious, always suspect. I enjoy that rather immensely.
she doesn't seem to have much of a reaction to that. In fact, she is singularly humorless. She has not so much as smiled or given a polite nod in the time that she has been here.
Meanwhile, Mr. Tibbles is all smiles.
Yes, yeah, no, you're doing enough for the both of you.
Sounds like me in real life.
And she would in fact probably, while you are gathering your things to venture forth, she would probably bid you good day with the contract in hand and a firm promise that she will be able to deliver both a modified document and a modified situation where the fact that you've modified the document will be covered and protected.
Yes.
As she goes to leave, she lingers by the door for a moment with her gnarled orange, reddy purple hand on the door, and she turns back to you and she says,
This,
she glances at the document.
Tinker Breath. How fond are you of him?
He's quite amusing. Very short-tempered and incredibly intelligent, but just no fun, Fidelia. He's no fun.
Does his life matter to you? His continued health and ability to operate?
Perhaps. Only because we are going on a very interesting vacation at his behest, but I don't think that he'd linger long in this plane.
She nods gravely.
Very well. Makes my job easier.
Well, you know me, all about the small conveniences.
Indeed. Fare thee well, Tibbles.
And you, a blooming onion.
And she departs from the doorway without a further word.
Yes.
All right. So what are you doing now then?
So now is when he gets his musical number that he is sipping his tea while waving his fingers, and all of his things are shrinking into it is a rucksack. It's a perfectly ordinary rucksack that has clearly been modified.
A rucksack of holding to be.
Yes. It's
Yes.
like Mary Poppins's carpet bag, essentially.
Yeah.
Everything has been shrunk down into this rucksack. He is waving his hand, performing the magic while sipping his tea with the other. And the last step is for this rag to come out, wipe the teacup clean, and then both of them disappear. So once he's done performing his magic, the room looks just the same as it was when he first moved in.
Mm-hmm.
Plain wooden walls, bad furniture. No sign that anyone had been staying here for probably 3 years at this point. What he would do is he would then walk over to the window and go out through the window.
Okay. You go out through the window, sort of slide down the roof and climb down the drain pipe, and you find yourself on the ground floor in a dirty back alley. There's no one around, but you do hear like somebody coughing off in the distance. And as you make your way to the main street, which is what I assume you're going to do next, I don't want to put words in your character's mouth.
Yes.
You see a little bit of graffiti sort of like sprayed on the side of the brickwork of this alley. Still fresh, still kind of dripping red. The words, "Feed the Beast."
Am I? Oh. I'm afraid I've just eaten graffiti. But I thank you kindly for thinking about it, I suppose. Can't wait to leave this godforsaken place.
And then you you head into the street. You make your way towards the center of town where you know the Sky Dock to be. Okay, it's been like 3 weeks, but does anybody remember what happened last session?
Yes.
Yes, yes, as well.
So, is anybody
us to
going
tell you,
Yes, please, yeah.
It's like, we were all there.
We all were called to a Cobalt guy's area, because he all knows us in various ways, for a job offer where it is a town where there was a cave filled with pyrite, which is like if they're able to get enough of it and are able to experiment enough on it, can be like basically the new oil of this world. And part of the agreement for going to this town is ownership of it. Part ownership of like the town and therefore the mine, therefore all the money.
Okay, now what you guys did to that NPC is just go on ahead.
First you get the pyrite, then you get the women, then you get the power.
It's also worth mentioning that pyrite is a thing.
Pyrite.
It is fool's gold. Pyrite is the word you're looking for. I wouldn't have said anything about it or anything like that. It's just that pyrite is already its own thing.
I forgot that it was pyrite, but I knew pyrite.
It's
so.
okay. It's fine.
Yep.
It's totally fine. Just a minor correction.
And in the party there was a warforged shield guy, a catfolk chemist. Katie? Are you a chemist? I forget.
Alchemist, chemist.
Alchemist,
Engineer.
Engineer. That's what it was.
Yeah.
A very, 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 very put off elf who just does not want to be here. Period. Hashtag. And a rabbit who's going to eat our fucking souls. Politely.
I wouldn't dare of utilizing your souls for any sort of magic or miscellaneous arcana without your express permission.
As I said, going to eat our fucking souls. Yeah. So Brother Shell, who Adam thinks is supposed to annoy us, but I mean, like, we just let him talk and basically see how long Adam can keep it up, which is so much fun.
Now, do you remember what happened at the very end after you guys had agreed to set out?
I know that Sam's little rabbit folk is trying to commit massive fraud and thinks they're pulling a slick one.
I wouldn't say massive. More
But like the rest of
significant.
but the rest of us just really kind of don't care. And then we had a massive fight about how to get to the town, where Aust wanted to just walk on foot while we had but there's airships.
I mean, Aust did leave.
Yeah, Aust
that's right.
left.
Yeah, Aust left. Kibo is with Brother Shell and is just like, as Adam put it at one point, it's just one object to another, which is a very, very apt description. I forget what the murder rabbit is. The murder rabbit's going off to go commit the fraud I mentioned, and
It's not. It's not commit in that particular description. It's more of a sure.
What he had specifically told you was that he didn't know that you guys were going to leave immediately, and he had to go pack a few things up at where he was at.
to go commit the fraud. Yeah.
Sure.
And oh, it's Donnie, and then Donnie. I forget what Donnie wanted to go.
Hey, Donnie went to go get a fucking coffee, bud.
That's right. Coffee.
Coffee and a
Yeah,
cannoli.
Coffee
No, he
and a
did say
crulla.
cannoli. You're right.
Crulla's more on
Name the
brand.
gun. Taste
So
slowly.
while Aust checks out at the northern gate and immediately leaves the well-beaten path that emits from Guildkeep and kind of tracks off into the surrounding farmland and developed wilderness and curated woods of the land immediately surrounding the city's walls, his shoulders seem to slacken, the tension leaving them as he leaves the city in favor of the terrain that he is most comfortable in. Meanwhile, Donnie, with a cup of coffee and like a little paper bag that's full of greasy little pastry that you get from those sort of like roadside stands and kiosks and stuff, you make your way to what is essentially the second highest and most grand ward of the city. Second only to the ward that contains the large administrative buildings and the halls of the technocrats. This is the Sky Dock, the airport, if you will. These great towers of interlocking docks and great towers with these little air skiffs moving in and out, very slowly, but all over the place.
They kind of like Wonka's glass elevator.
They are kind of like that, basically. What they are basically, what you guys would recognize them as, is sort of like small zeppelins with small gondolas. The balloon envelope rises far ahead, far above, far behind. And the actual skiff itself, the gondola, is fairly small. It's about 15 feet wide, 30 feet long. It's enough to fit you all comfortably, for sure, but there's not a whole lot of wiggle room. You get there first, Donnie.
Mhm.
Followed shortly by Mr. Kibo and Brother Chell. Brother Chell kind of slowing Kibo down. Kibo sort of politely keeping in pace with the elderly, or possibly not elderly. It's hard to tell with turtles. They all look old. A gentleman who is not very fast. Seems to be talking Kibo's ear off very slowly. But in fact, I was the fastest one in my year at school. I was the king of the track team.
All the while while we're walking, I make sure that like Brother Shell has like a bubble of like no people being inside. Like basically, Kibo actively keeps people away from him.
He does not seem to notice. He doesn't seem like he can move his head fast enough to track you as you move
That's fine,
anyway.
but it's just something Kibo does.
Master of the 100-meter waddle. You were given the number of the dock that you needed to be at, and as you come up on it, you do see a skiff. At dock 38C. Wow. And yeah, you see Donnie, charring on pastry,
Greetings, friend Don.
leaning nonchalantly against a support beam as a small gnome, yet elderly gnome, sort of like runs to and fro along the skiff. Sort of closing this hatch here, tightening that rope there. It seems like he is getting this vehicle ready for launch. Our chariot waits.
All right, great. Where's the rest of us?
I believe I have all parts of myself.
I mean the others. who was hired to do this job.
Kibo doesn't answer right away because his eyes kind of like are clearly dilating in such a way that he's clearly doing an internal check to make sure all his parts are there.
Initializing. As it happens, not a scant few minutes later, Mr. Tibbles will arrive.
Pardon me, I do apologize for my tardiness. I did need to procure a few personal items to accompany us on our journey to the pirate cave.
Yeah, whatever. This guy is still getting stuff ship shape. Where's the elf guy?
Was he not with you?
I do believe friend Aust said he was walking, no?
Okay, well, if we see him on the way, then we'll pick him up, and if we don't, then I guess he gets there when he gets there.
Yeah, you, a fast little rabbit person, come walking up, and Brother Chell looks you up, and Brother Chell, a tortoise person, looks you up and down, and
I was here first. I feel like there's a lesson to be had.
I've heard the old Mama Rabbit's tale about caution and slow and steady, but I believe I've never put all that much stock in it.
Well, I always felt I had far more in common with the rabbit in that tale. Anyway.
Fucking hilarious.
Brother Chill, I believe that we are going to get along most amicably.
At this point, you hear a voice behind you kind of clear its throat to get your attention as the gnome, wizened and white-bearded as he is, stands before you, clad in leathers and a scarf and goggles, all that good old-timey pilot goodness. His clothing is a little threadbare, clearly not a man of means, but a man with the means to get you to go places.
All right, what is this, Tinker Breath Party?
Affirmative.
Wonderful.
I would like to discuss the name, but we do happen to be that group. Take a Breath Party is just not a very good name, and I feel we should have a strong, confident name to prepare us for our adventure into the great wilds.
So you can call yourself what you like. I don't give a drat's ass.
Whatever, buddy. Alright, yep, Donnie finishes the last bite of his pastry, the last sip of his coffee, chucks coffee cup and crumpled up paper bag in a nearby trash receptacle, goes swoosh, 3 points, gets onto the skiff.
Okay, yeah. You can tell that it's anchored at the moment, but there's still like a little bit of a bob as you step onto it, like as of stepping onto like a boat in shallow water.
So, please remind me the particulars of this vessel. It defies gravity and natural magical order, or earthen order. Correct.
Oh, look, it's very simple. See that balloon up there? So that's filled with air, but it's a type of air that's lighter than the air what we's breathing. So because that's lighter, because it's hotter, it counteracts the pull of gravity and allows us to float.
That's right, it's like wood floating on the water, except, there's air.
Yeah, basically.
Curious. I've identified so many different types of air. It's quite great. I'm very amused. May I bud? Mr. I did not catch your name, I apologize.
Oh, they call me Piotr.
Mr. Piotr, permission to come aboard?
Oh, yes, go on ahead.
Well, thank you. And Mr.
I don't plan to wait around all day.
Quite right. Yes. That none of that slow and steady business, brother? And Mr. Tibble sports.
All right, I'm next.
And he puts one foot in front of the other.
And soon you are walking across the floor.
Yeah, he gets on as well. It just takes a second.
And how about you, hefty pots and pans boy?
Kibo just gets on with like no care, no grace. The boat probably like rocks a bit just because he just steps right on with his full weight.
Okay, yeah, it bobs a lot. But in short order, Piotr is running around. He is releasing catches and ropes and sandbags. And finally, he grabs a a thin whistle, and whistles on it shrilly, because that's a thing that makes more sense. And that seems to be like a notification to whoever is the dock warden or equivalent. And there is like a clunk of machinery beneath you and a sudden jostle, and suddenly the entire gondola is rising from the docks. This might be the first time some of you have flown, actually. Not everybody has access to skiffs.
I would think that Mr. Tibbles, this is probably his first time flying. Not that he can't afford it, but more that it's new. It's science. It's not magic. So he's like, I don't understand. What do you mean, different air? It's just air.
Yeah, air's air, as far as you
I
care.
breathe it. All good.
Well, you probably shouldn't breathe this stuff in. That'll kill you straight away.
Ooh.
Well, it's basically a kind of fire damp.
Oh. Those were a lot of words in succession that I didn't quite understand, but thank you for the warning.
Yeah, well, dead passengers can't pay you again.
But yeah, you guys rise above the spires of the dock ward and eventually, even above the ward of the technocrats, actually. And the walls and the buildings all fall away, and the city of Guildkeep dwindles beneath you. You arc around to the east until you're beyond the bounds of the city, and then you swing to the north, and soon Guildkeep has been left far, far behind you. Okay, so fun question for you guys. Have you ever done a skill challenge?
Oh dear.
I don't think I have. Can't say I'm stoked.
So around 20 minutes into your trip, you guys have left the, you guys can still see Guildkeep behind you in the far-off distance. And height, it's impossible to tell exactly how far in the air you are from here. Now, as he is gnoming the controls, Mr. Piotr suddenly shouts out in alarm. And he holds his arm up, and he's like,
Damn, me wrist popped again. Which one of you wants to help me steer? I need another set of hands.
Oh, hey, I got you, buddy.
Right. So with the skill challenge, what you want to do is you can volunteer for an individual challenge, and you describe the skill and how you use it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you roll.
Okay.
All right, so how are you going to help?
Well, he said his wrist popped and he is having trouble steering. Why is engineering not a skill?
Engineering is not a skill in this version of D&D, but for you, I would have you roll your intelligence plus your proficiency bonus. Basically making our own skill there.
Okay. My proficiency. Okay, so that's my int plus 3. Okay, so I grab the wheel and I ask Piotr, all right, bud, just tell me which way we gotta go. We're just holding her steady so far?
Aye, we're holding her steady, but you need to make some micro adjustments to the side wings.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay, so we're just gonna kind of feel it out a little bit.
Oh, you want to maintain the main toggle and make adjustments to the side toggles.
Okay, I gotcha. I'm just gonna ease her out. 2, 3, so that was a 12. I'm guessing that was not great.
Well, it isn't at first. Starts sort of like wobbling all over the place. You've got these sort of adjustment wings on the sides, and you've got some adjustments for the envelope, and suddenly you seem to hit some sort of turbulence. It gets really bumpy for a minute there.
My.
All right, so there's a little bit of a learning curve here.
But in short order, you are able to,
What? No, that one. No, the other one.
Oh, well, you should have said. Why? Oh, for crying out fucking loud. Why didn't you say that in the first place?
Well, I can't do the job for you. I'm doing my own job over here.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
but eventually you do get the hang of it.
Might I assist in some way? I am quite handy. After many months of spending time in Mr. Tinkerbrett's lab, I am accustomed to. He would have me take the little flippity gibbets and kind of push them together to make a larger flippity gibbet. If that helps.
Are these technical terms?
Well, I think we got it all wrapped up over here, but, keep an eye out.
I can certainly keep my eyes open.
Affirmative.
Yeah, why don't you guys keep an eye out for, what's-his-face? Aust.
18 plus 3, 21. So when Mr. Tibbles is actually doing a perception check, it's not so much listening as much as it is turning his ears.
Gotcha. So, after a moment, the activity has kind of died down a little bit. There's not so much, creaking and nasty noises and everything going on around you as you listen. But what you do hear is you can actually hear sort of like a chittering off in the distance. And you realize, and because you rolled so high, you have plenty of time to react to this. There is a massive flock of birds that's heading towards you.
Do you ordinarily pilot in the direction of birds? It seems that they are headed towards us, and perhaps we might want to change course or descend, or I can light them on fire.
Oh, bloody hell, there's starlings heading right for us.
Oh, for Christ's sake. Are we going around or are we going down?
Fire is also an option.
Yeah, skiff's made of wood and highly flammable gas.
Oh, right. The different air. The air and the more different air. Yes. Mm-hmm. Good point.
Do we need to make a hard turn?
Yeah, it's gonna have to be a pretty hard turn.
All right, well, we're left or right, bud?
The second, the gnome says yes to the hard turn. Can I use an athletics check to either grab the wheel or just grab some rudders and just pull them really hard?
Yeah, there's the stabilizing wheels on the side also work for micro adjustments, as you say. And as he's trying to work the wheel to get the adjustment right to start the thing moving, because it's actually a little bit hard to move. You're sort of on. It's sort of wind powered. It's sort of pushed by the wind. He's got these little sail adjusters on the side. And you can see he's turning and turning and turning, and they're not moving very fast. So go ahead and make your athletics.
That is a 16 on the die, so that is a 24.
Yeah.
24. You reach down with both hands for two of the adjusters on your side, and you just go, and then you just kind of hear Piotr yelp a little bit as that the wheel that he is trying to spin suddenly goes. But you guys are heading directly away from it. The starlings get up close, and it's though they didn't notice you basically, and then they suddenly swerve off. They got these sharp little beaks. There's this puncturable envelope up above you, and all these little fine mechanical workings on the outside of the skiff. You're not sure what would happen if one of these large flocks of starlings hit you, but you're pretty sure it would be good.
As the starlings go by, Donnie stares at them with big, wide open eyes and makes a chittering noise. Fucking invasive species. I fucking hate
Mr.
starlings.
Tibbles also glares at them. Gives them a very stern gaze, comparable to Paddington's stern gaze. And people need a reminder of their manners. It was most rude.
Friend Donnie, friend Miss Tibbles, do you wish to have starlings? As I pull out a crossbow, preparing to shoot some.
Ooh.
No, that's not necessary.
I greatly appreciate the offer. Unfortunately, with our current aerial situation, I feel it is not beneficial to collect magical parts at the moment. I do appreciate it, though.
Aust, you are down below, and you are not privy to any of this drama.
Not at all. But I am having a nice walk through the wilderness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a pep in your step now. Even walking in the city with its straight roads and its level surfaces is not as easy as picking your way through the brush that you've known since you were a child. A walk in the woods is a walk in the park. As you walk, it's been a couple of hours now since you set off. You've put a couple of miles between you and the city. The thick settlement that surrounds Guildkeep has now tapered out into woodlands and the occasional farm. However, as you round the bend of an old path and step over the remains of a farmer's old stone wall crumbling, you hear a sound. There's a kind of keening cry and the sound of scrabbling and struggling.
Well, We got time to check that out.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I was kind of hoping for more failed checks up above so that you would be, like, down below in the woodlands going, tra-la-la-la-la, here I am in the woodlands. Well, upstairs they're like, community pizza fire gif. But alas, they roll well. Anyway, you're able to track the sound to what seems to be a largely dilapidated, mostly fallen down, mossy, wooden cabin. Some 50 years, at least 20 years abandoned. The struggling sounds continue, and you can even hear pieces of masonry falling this way and that, as the whole structure seems to be shaking. And as you round the corner of the structure, you can see this massive, matted, dirty, even a little bit bloody shape. Some sort of creature seems to be stuck partway into this house, like it was trying to get in through a window, and now it is stuck.
How big is it?
Mechanics-wise, it is large.
Well, Aust, that doesn't scare Aust any. He's going to try to get closer and see what it's stuck on.
As I say, it seems like it was trying to stick its head through the remains of an old window. As though it sort of detects your presence a little bit, it sort of flaps, and you realize it has feathery, a little tattered, but feathery wings that rise up from it. But it also has fur and claws. And you realize that what you're looking at, you think, is a griffin.
Aww.
And what's more, slung across its back behind the wings, you can see the remains of a tabard, like a cloth sort of sigil or symbol, as though it was once domesticated and has since been perhaps abandoned or turned loose.
Aww.
Or escaped, maybe? And it is stuck inside the wall.
Don't you worry, little fella. I'm gonna work on getting you out of here, all right? Oh, you just listen to my voice and soothe yourself as I get to work on this wood here. All right. I am going. Like he's stuck in a doorway, or
inside of a window frame. He was sticking his head in, perhaps to see if there was some kind of food. In this old house here. Clearly recognizes what a house is, but perhaps not that this place has been abandoned for years.
Gotcha. Alright. I'm going to start taking out my woodcarver's tools, particularly my saw, and I am going to start making just cuts any way I can. If I have to puncture the wood with my short sword first, then so be it.
I would say with the crumbling nature of this wooden masonry, you can make short work of it. I'm not even going to make you roll for that. But the question is, what is the griffin going to do? Are you going to be able to soothe it? Or is it going to panic and make your life a living hell, maybe even hurt you? As wounded, scared, cornered animals do. So I think the roll to ask you for this would probably be animal handling.
That is a 15.
Yeah, it's not bad. It flinches away at your touch when you come close. But after a moment, it does seem to soothe. You do... It seems like this is a very domesticated and suggestible creature. You're reminded of the riders of Calamine, who, through the ages, spanning from the ancient Commonese Empire, were a noble vanguard for Calamine's armies, who rode, notoriously, on griffin back.
That's the kind of thing that I'm going to be speaking of, just very softly, very trying to soothe them down. If there's any words that the griffin remembers or knows, then just like I'm a friend. I'm here.
And after a short while, with a couple stabs and a couple pokes here and there, and a little bit of hammering and a little bit of chiseling, you are able to form a hole in the wood. It seems as though obviously the griffin was able to get its head into the hole. It was having trouble getting its head out. Sort of turned a little bit, and the shape of its head and its pointy, feathery ears were kind of sticking on the edges of the windowsill. It kind of got its head wedged between its ears and its beak in the long shape. So realizing that, you're able to kind of shape the hole for those extremities to allow them to back through. And eventually, with a lurch and a rain of old bits of rotting wood, the griffin pulls its head out. And it stumbles away from you, a little bit alarmed, a little bit uncomfortable with this unusual situation, but then it sits before you. And it regards you calmly, but with a little bit of distrust.
I'm gonna reach into my pack very slowly, and I'm gonna pull over some leftover rabbit.
Little bit of rabbit from the other day. Yeah, you've got its attention. It peeks its head at you, and it sort of like turns its head to one side like a puppy, and its powerful gaze goes from looking at you distrustingly to looking hungrily at the rabbit, just latches right on. Now, you can tell this animal is in bad condition. Griffins require a lot of grooming. This animal has not been groomed. It actually seems to be losing a lot of feathers up the side of its neck, and it is a lot skinnier than it should be.
Oh.
Well, nobody's taking care of you around here, huh? I'm gonna throw at the rabbit.
It catches it in mid-air with a snap, and it just woofs it down. Now, griffins, their mode of eating is that they kind of hold their prey down on the ground, and they tear chunks that they swallow whole. He doesn't even bother with that. He just horks the whole thing back in 2 seconds.
Yeah, seems about right.
He takes a step towards you, and he just kind of pushes his beak into your chest. In terms of, like, lightly nuzzling you, not like he impaled you.
Nuzzling.
Yeah, it stabs you to death. Now you're being eaten.
Oh, this game was fun.
That's what you get for splitting up the party!
Well, at least it wasn't a rock. It's only a griffin.
Well, I mean, if we need to do a TPK, I mean, like, Kibo can pull out his hammer and start hitting some rudders. I'm pretty sure that'll make us drop really quick, so...
The griffin sort of, like, hoarsely squawks at you and sort of, like, headbutts you lightly in the chest.
All right. Hey, you can follow me a little bit. I'll see if there's anything worth hunting on my way, but I got a schedule to keep. So we're gonna start moving now. All right?
Squawk! Squawk.
Well, that's good enough for me. So I guess we'll begin moving.
You continue on as before, but this time you have a griffin in tow. A sad, neglected griffin.
Aw, poor baby.
That's what we get for using modern conveniences and not just walking.
Yeah, back to you guys. An hour has passed since the Starling incident, and it's been relatively smooth sailing at this point. You can already see the ocean in the distance. And you will recall that this is relevant because Amber Sands, the old mining village that your destination is located near, is adjacent to the coastline. Yeah, the gnome generally seems to know where he's going and what he's doing, and with a little bit of time, shaking loose the pins and needles and everything, his hand seems to be a lot better. He doesn't actually need your help anymore to pilot the skiff.
Well, thank you, Mr. Catman. You really came in clutch there, I gotta say.
Yeah, no worries, buddy.
However, as you start to move over the hills low, the forest has given way to unforested hills. The wind begins to pick up, and there's a bump of turbulence that rocks the skiff. Brother Chell suddenly stumbles over. He was getting up to head towards the back of the skiff, where the bags of stuff are located, and his staff just suddenly wrenches out of his hands and starts to go flying.
Oh dear.
This all happens in slow motion to you all, and double slow motion to Brother Chell, as the staff pirouettes end over end towards the back of the skiff, high enough to wing over the rail.
How far away is this happening from Donnie?
I'd say that you're pretty much all within 5 feet. It's not a very wide skiff.
I will try to catch it
And
before it falls off.
Afterwards, I would like to try to catch Brother Shell.
Are you trying to grab him to stop him from falling to the floor of the skiff? He's not, like, near the edge or anything.
Stop him from falling over.
All right.
He's brittle, and we need him to heal us, not him.
Okie dokie. So, from Donnie, I will need, I think, an acrobatics check. From Tibbles, I think we're looking at a strength check, because he's kind of a big, bulky guy.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Maybe I should just let him lay on the floor.
What?
7.
Oh no!
5.
All right, your tabaxi fingertips just brush it. Brother Chell's staff, that is to say.
Well, drat.
And it actually seems to give it enough height where it can go over the railing and spinning down to the countryside below. Whoops.
Johnny stops his fumble motion with his hands, paws on the railing of the skiff, looks at the staff tumbling down, and says, well, fuck.
Was that important?
I understand. Brother Shell has fallen to the ground as well. The floor of the ship.
That was a 5.
Yeah.
Well, that was a 5 for you, right? Oh, damn.
What
Yeah.
Not
What do you need to
strong
Okay.
of arm, strong of mind.
Yeah, so you tried to grab him, and he acknowledges that, but he mostly just kind of went he just kind of face planted into the deck there.
Can I make an acrobatics check to throw somebody off to catch it? No.
Oh my god, that's a great move.
Brilliant, roll it.
Could I take some rope, tie it to one of my crossbow bolts, and fire at the bolt that stabbed to try and catch it?
Yeah, if you think you can roll a natural 20, bud.
Could certainly try.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah!
19.
Ah, come on!
Damn,
No, it was
this
a
is so
15 on
close.
the die, but
Oh.
19 total.
No, I'm afraid not. You can see it kind of disappear into a copse of trees not too far behind where the skiff's shadow is hitting the ground. The bolt you've shot lands within the same copse, but a little bit wide of that, and when you pull it back, there is no staff. It was a literal long shot. Now that I think about it, honestly, you tying a rope to an arrow and then shooting the arrow off and the time that it takes for it to fall to the ground.
I have failed. I will now initiate self-destruct.
Please don't be
No, not on the skiff, not on the skiff!
And
Thank you for enjoying my second joke.
Oh, you're
where'd you get
quite
this
good at
guy?
that. I'm very impressed.
Brother Chell manages to rock himself back to his feet, and he gets up and he runs to the back of the skiff. So after about 30 seconds or so, he manages to make it to the back of the skiff.
I was waiting for it.
And he says, "Oh no. Now I'm next to useless."
That's not quite a very positive attitude. Like you fine.
But I need that staff to channel many of my magics.
That's unfortunate. You can't
Processing information.
You cannot just use your hands. So I use prestidigitation, and it just kind of looks like I'm juggling little balls of light.
I'm afraid that clerics don't work quite the same way. That was my spellcasting focus.
How unfortunate.
Is it specifically that staff, or would any staff do?
I suppose that any staff with magical properties could function as a spellcasting focus.
Understood. Is there anything around the ship that seems magical and not particularly, vital?
Make an investigation check.
Okay, well, there's the nat 20. So, a natural 20 for a total of 20.
You can pretty decisively say that the stuff that you can see on the surface at the top of the skiff is not magical in nature, and as you start to go in and start to pull apart compartments, you get yelled at.
Okay, I'm getting yelled at. You act like this is gonna stop Kibo?
You open up a panel in the bottom of the deck, and you do see some glowing pistons that are pumping up and down and moving back and forth under their own motion. But that's basically when Piotr yells over you to, stop touching his shit.
Friend Pierre, is any of this vital if we listen would the ship crash?
When you're 1,000 feet in the air, yes, it's all vital.
Insight check.
Make an insight check.
You're really good at insight.
Yes.
Check that.
7.
Well, you have no reason to doubt the man.
Very well. Is there anything magical that is not vital?
We've got light on this ship. I don't carry things that are magical that we don't need.
Does anyone have a magical thing that is not vital?
Well, it can't be just, literally anything that's magical. It has to be things that are magical that can function as spellcasting foci.
Yeah, but nobody specified, but Shell didn't specify that, so I was going to take that, break off a piece of wood and stick it on and call it a staff.
Unfortunately, Mr. Kibo, I do feel that, this is a reconnaissance mission. No ordinary magical item will simply suffice to replace the item that has been lost.
It's just as well.
I'm dead weight now. You might as well just throw me overboard.
It is not good form to body shame yourself. I think that you can still contribute quite a great deal to us. Perhaps as an anchor or doorstop.
Very well, go ahead and laugh. It's all that I deserve.
Robots of the Endless Death Squad are incapable of laughing.
As the pity party continues, Piotr's just kind of looking back at all of this interaction, not impressed. But what I need from everybody is a perception check. I'll even say, yes, even Aust, a perception check, please.
16.
That's an 8.
6. My potion dice are not being nice to me today.
That is 16.
Hey, 16 club. High five.
16 bros, all right. As Donnie and Mr. Tibbles' attention is kind of soaked up by this,
Pity party, yeah.
Yeah, this display of self-flagellation, Kibo hears off in the distance a kind of screeching and squawking noise.
I turn my head towards it and adjust my eyes, binocular eyes, to see what it is.
You don't really at this point see much of anything except what seems like a flock of birds in the distance. Not starlings. Possibly larger than starlings? And oh yeah, they're definitely heading toward you.
Warning, another flock of bird is approaching. Shall I turn the boat again quickly?
Brother Shell, I think now would be a good time for us to do the anchor maneuver we were previously discussing. Perhaps we descend quickly.
And Aust. As you crest a hill with your Griffon friend in tow, you can also hear, coming in over the winds in an echoing fashion, this distant screeching. Sort of akin to, but not quite like, a bird of prey. An eagle or a hawk, but with a different timbre and quality.
Uh-huh.
Yep. You can make a roll if you want to find out more, man.
Yes, please. What should I roll to find out more?
This would firmly be in the realm of nature.
All right, that'll be a 15.
All right, a 15.
Yes. Also, I don't know if it'll come up, but my favorite enemy is monstrosities.
That's good to know. All right, I DM'd you.
Okay.
As you emerge from the trees at the crest of this hill, you can see off in the sky, in the distance, some sort of weird sky boat. What is that newfangled contraption? It's a little ways ahead of you.
Well, I'll tell you what it isn't. Natural.
Mm-hmm.
And do I see said creature?
From where you're at, with a 16, not immediately. Everybody is rushing into positions to possibly assist Piotr with his maneuvering and operation of the ship.
Okay.
As you do, you guys start to hear a song. The horrendous screeching of this creature starts to run together and meld into this beautiful cacophonous melody. It soon takes on a quality like it's just surrounding you.
I would like to roll Arcana to see if I recognize, not Arcana, maybe it's Arcana, to see if I recognize the song and what type of things sing it.
Well, I think Arcana makes sense of the circumstances, given what you're trying to identify. You know, first instinct is that it's kind of magical.
3.
Okay, so what I would like before I give an answer to that would be for everybody within hearing range to give me, please, a wisdom saving throw.
While they're rolling that, how far away are they?
They seem to be a few hundred feet away from you laterally and several hundred feet in the air.
Are they in longbow range?
Ooh, that's a good question. What is longbow range?
600 feet max.
I would say that they are just out
Got
of
a
range.
19.
I also got a 19.
I think you're a little bit far off still, Aust. If you want to get in range, you gotta move. So you guys up on the skiff each feel the melody enter your ears, and it seems to be pressing on certain parts of your brain, and it almost seems like it's trying to take over your bodies. You're encompassed by this pleasurable brain fog, but something is off about it, and you seem to be, each of you, able to shake it off.
Because we're all dicks, he's changing some rules.
However, Piotr does not shake it off.
Oh dear.
Whereas previously the skiff was creeping forward with the obvious intent to strafe around these birds as they come into range, Piotr sort of slumps back in his driver's seat with a dreamy look on his face, and the skiff shudders to a halt.
Those damn sky sirens.
Mr. Piotr, I believe this is, I don't believe that, Mr. Tinkerbreath explained gravity to me, and
Oh, be quiet, I'm trying to
this is
listen.
how, gravity is supposed to work. Perhaps you can hit the switch for the
Be quiet. Stop it.
Brother Shell, I believe we need some of your medical expertise. Would you please kindly slap this man?
What's going on? Without my staff, I'm nothing.
Okay, I'll be needing you guys to roll initiative now.
I have a stupid high initiative plus? I don't know what I did. Yeah, I have a +5.
I think that Harangon gets something to their
Maybe-
initiative because they're quick
maybe.
like bunnies. Like they got a racial bonus.
Which makes sense. Rabbits be speedy quick boys.
I rolled a 5.
Okay, as the skiff shudders to a halt, Mr. Tibbles, you get to go first. The bird-like creatures are about 200 feet out from you at this point, off in this direction.
Oh, okay.
And as they approach, they're getting bigger, and they're getting bigger, and they're getting a lot bigger, guys, more than you'd expect. And it is up to you what you would like to do about that.
Well, I can't do any of my fancy spell casting. I suppose I am going to make an unarmed strike against the pilot to get him to snap out of it. A la Cher.
Alrighty.
So let's see. Does a 6 hit?
I don't think... I would say take back the
okay.
roll, because he's not dodging, and he can't really dodge you. And also, he's like an NPC.
That's hilarious. I can't make an unarmed strike.
What? You can make an unarmed... Everybody can make an unarmed
D&D
strike.
Beyond, for some reason, it says it does 0 bludgeoning damage.
Oh, that's because that's your strength score, I think. But it's okay. In my book, an attack can't do less than 1 damage.
I was gonna say it's pretty good for Mr. Tibbles, a guy who does not fight with his fists. He prefers to charm with his words. To just be like, oh, snap out of it, and then just like flick him.
Okay, so you use your action to slap the NPC in the face. Let me see. Okay, you smack him in the face. No reaction.
We need to land the plane. How do we land the plane? It's a plane. What are we on?
This reminds me of when I was very young. And my
I don't want to
mother
hear from you.
would sing me lullabies in my crib.
All right, you got anything else?
Literally nothing else.
Literally nothing else. Okay.
Glad I got such a good initiative to not be able to do anything.
Listen, somebody had to try it, and you only did 1 damage to the guy, so that's a plus in my book.
True. Thus ends my turn.
Okay. Aust, it's your turn. You can suddenly hear a frantic murmuring in a voice that you can unfortunately recognize. Coming from the direction of the skiff.
Fuck.
Oh. Wait, so how far away am I from the skiff?
Like 600 feet.
Some damn fine ears.
That's like 600 plus feet. Or the winds are kind of carrying it to and fro. You're not catching every single word. It's coming in
I'm
and out.
not quiet.
Yeah, also, it's Mr. Tibbles. I mean,
So Aust is gonna say to himself, "I thought they were taking a skiff." All right, come along, little buddy, and he's gonna start in the direction of the skiff.
Okay.
But as soon as I'm in longbow range, then I'm gonna start shooting.
It does help that the skiff seems to be slowly sinking. It is no longer moving forward, and it seems to be slowly getting closer to the ground. It's not like crashing or anything, but it just seems that it's stopped, and it takes a modicum of power and direction to maintain altitude.
Okay.
All right. So you're kind of running downhill right now, so technically you're heading away from it, but then you can move to the top of the next hill. What is your move speed? Just for the record?
35.
35. Very nice. Unfortunately, you realize your little traveling companion is falling behind. Apparently, a griffin's walking speed is only like 20 feet. But after a moment, he seems to grow frustrated, and he flexes his wings, and he actually starts flying. And with that, he's able to pick up his pace and actually start moving on ahead of you. You hit the bottom of the depression between these two hills, and you start running up the side of the next. How many actions are you willing to dedicate to this process?
I mean, I can't shoot until I'm in range, so as many as it takes.
Roger that. Makes sense. So it seems if you use your next movement to run up the next hill, it'll bring you to the very crest, wherein you will be just within the barest edge of longbow range.
Got it. Okay.
Because now you're a little bit closer laterally, and you're a little bit closer vertically.
Roger that. Then do that.
Okay. It is the turn of our cat friend. Tibbles has just tried slapping Piotr to no apparent avail. And these mysterious bird-like creatures are actively getting closer. You can see where that arrow is. They're off in that direction about 200 feet, and they are closing that distance fast.
Mr. Donovan, I've slapped the pilot and I'm all out of ideas.
And what is happening with the skiff? Remind me.
The skiff has shuddered to a halt. It is completely slowed, and it is starting to slowly sink to the ground.
Okay. Is that just because nobody's operating the controls,
That
or
would seem to be because nobody is operating the controls.
okay? Have we identified the things that are approaching us?
As they get closer, they're about 200 feet from where you guys are. I would say that you can make a nature check if you wish, and if you are proficient.
Well, Donovan is going to get back over to the controls. And do you want me to do the same thing that I did before? I'm going to kind of just, like, gently shove Piotr out of the way.
Yeah, you can, shoulder him out of the way with very little difficulty. He's a lot smaller than you.
Pooch, bud. Let me just, here, I'll take care of this for you, buddy. You go relax over there.
You gonna try to fly the skiff?
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead and make that same check. Intelligence, and then add 3.
Okay. Gotcha, yeah, so 9.
Alright, 9. So he's changed some settings, and you have not, up until this point, controlled both sides of the console at once. So this sucker just sort of starts shuddering as you touch it. Do me a favor and roll just a straight D20 for me, just a straight D20.
8. I really don't like these dice.
Alright, the ship lurches, and it very suddenly shifts violently sideways. I need everybody to go ahead and make a dexterity save. Everybody who's on the skiff, I mean.
Oh, darn, I was just about to roll.
8.
13.
8, okay. 8 and 9. Okay, sorry to say it, you guys are prone. You are knocked prone with the sudden side-to-side movement of the skiff.
I like to imagine that it's not like a whole the thing jerks and I stumble on my feet. It's just the ship jerks and then I'm just full on still stiff body, just tip over.
In fact, I think Mr. Tibbles is the only one who manages to keep his feet.
Checks out. I'm a rabbit.
Checks out, I'm a rabbit. Brother Chell ends up rocking back onto his back, and he just suddenly goes, "Oh no, this is how my uncle died." He is stuck on his back. He has disadvantage on checks to get back to his feet. And Piotr wasn't resisting anyway, so...
Yeah, he's like all loosey goosey.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you wanted to do? You do have movement, so you could get like back onto your feet if you wanted to.
Yeah, I'm gonna stand back up.
Yeah, you just lightly spring back to your feet. Okay, so it's Brother Chell's turn. He is going to buck and rock and try to get back onto his feet. That is disadvantage on a dexterity check for him, and his dexterity is not great to begin with.
He was already batting 1,000, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's not a dex build. He's not a dex build. Yeah, that is a 1, an unnatural 1, which tells you how good that is. Yeah, he's just sort of bobbing and rocking in a panicked fashion to no avail. He's just like, oh dear, it's every turtle's worst nightmare. Kibo, go!
Use half my movement to stand up.
Excellent.
Did I see, like, so, like, I understand that I don't know the controls, but, like, have I watched enough to know, in particular, the thing that makes it go forward?
Well, it seems to be partially pushed by the wind and partially by some arcane propulsion that you don't understand. As you look down over the edge, now that Donnie has stepped away from the controls, he hasn't quite stepped back up to try to fly it again. You can see that all of the fins on the sides, the ones that you moved earlier, are sort of like tacked in close. They're no longer spread out to catch the wind. You're able to kind of determine that the magic is what moves those fins outward so that they can catch the air, and without magic flowing through, they just sort of clasp in close to the side. Like a sort of safety feature, so if somebody falls unconscious or falls out, the thing just doesn't keep flying forever. You know, you want a skiff that isn't going to fly off willy-nilly in all kinds of directions. You want it to stay sort of still if there's been a problem on board. Yeah.
So, but, like, I didn't watch enough to, like, see, like, if there was a certain lever or a certain button that would, like, make magical wind push this ship forward type thing. Like, I didn't see that.
I would say if you want to recall knowledge from before, you'd have to make an intelligence check, just a regular intelligence. I do feel it's important to point out that getting it moving is all well and good, but these things don't move very fast. They move a little bit above a walking speed. The things that are coming after you, way faster.
Okay,
way
it was
faster.
already going at top speed, because I was thinking, like, oh, it's going slow. I was going to just find the throttle and go full force.
No, you should do that. Then you'll go twice walking speed.
Brisk pace. Alright, so I'm going to go right next to Brother Cert, and I'm just going to pull him up.
Not Brother Cert.
Brother Shell.
Brother Chell.
They're related.
They might be. You don't know. There's not that many turtles running around.
So I'm just...
We're making our own cannon.
All right. Make a strength check.
That is a 14.
With your help, he rolls lightly to his feet, and he's just like, ah, just like when I was on the gymnastics team. Anything else you want to do?
I don't think they're...
I do say, Brother Shell, you seem to have been a member of quite an extraordinary amount of extracurricular activities. I do wonder at their relevance, as you have clearly been out of academia for quite some time.
I should point out that while all this was going on, I accidentally skipped over the creature's turn, and they got a lot fucking closer while you guys were doing this. They've actually most of the way to you. You can actually see where they're at. What they actually are is these wide-winged hawk or eagle-esque wings and torso. But the upper torso and what would seem to be head of women. Sharp-toothed, angry women.
Harpies.
So they're, I would probably say, just about 80 feet away now. Our man down on the floor there gets another saving throw.
I mean the pilot?
Yes, the pilot. It's the pilot. No, the man on the floor, not the man on the ground. And that's a 4. So he does not, he's just like,
Oh, to be a baby bird in the sky.
And we are right back to the tip-top of the turn order with Mr. Tibbs.
Hell yeah. So I definitely would see these things being a lot closer after I've been kind of having a mild to severe panic attack. And remembering no fire,
which I know must be just breaking your heart.
I mean, me and Mr. Tibbles alike, I'm a big fan of just lighting things up with fire in D&D. I'm going to try to move like 5 feet. I want to be next to him at the railing, so realistically...
Yeah, you can do that, yeah. You're not going to have a lot of room to maneuver, but yeah.
That's okay. I am a very proficient magic caster.
Oh my, very proficient.
Yes, indubitably. I am going to cast. I'm going to cast at 3rd level Chaos Bolt. The range is 120 feet. So is this mass within 120 feet?
Yes, they are certainly within 120 feet. You're good.
Oh, okay. At one creature in range, on a hit, the target takes 2d8 plus 1d6 damage. Choose one of the d8s. The number on that die determines the attack's type. Roll the same number. The chaotic energy leaps from the target to a different creature of your choice within 30 feet of it. You can do attack. Oh, that's pretty dope. Okay. And you cast this spell using a spell slot of 2nd level or higher. Each target takes 1d6 extra damage of the type rolled. Okay. So, how many are there?
Your eyes dart up for a split second and take a quick count. There are 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 6 of them coming at you.
Well,
Okay.
crap.
I'm going to launch this at the one in the front of the flying V. I assume it's a flying V.
It's a little bit more chaotic than that. It's not quite as straightforward as like geese flying in a V. It's more like a bunch of swarming birds.
Okay. Tell I'm still thinking about Bard Bros because immediately my brain went, okay, ladies, now let's get information. I'm going to cast Chaos Bolt at 3rd level at the one in the front. Let's see. Big money, no whammies. That is a 13.
It hits.
Hell yes. Okay. So I rolled a 3 and an 8, which means can be fire.
Of course. But it doesn't become fire until it hits the target. It's just chaos magic until then.
Well, and it's also or. It's fire or thunder. Think I'm gonna go with fire since I know it turns into fire when it hits them. Then the damage I rolled was 11. Do the math for me, D&D. That's another 14.
Okay, so that's a total of 25 damage.
Oh yeah.
All right. There is an explosion of flame in the distance and a nasty shriek. As the creature that you've hit sort of falters in midair and other creatures start to pass it, it is no longer the one that is in the lead. But it's still going. After a moment, it sort of just like flaps its sooty feathers and rallies around and continues along with its kin to come at you guys.
Yeah, I had a feeling I didn't straight up murder it.
Yet.
Too bad, so sad. Yet, yes. The fire does very well over there. Hit it with fire, if you can. And that'll end my turn.
Okay, Aust. The harpies are closing in. What do you do?
So I moved 70 feet. They are now 60 feet away from the ship. Can I at least strike at them now?
I would say that some of them you definitely have access to. They're not all on the same plane as the ship. Some of them are below it, some of them are above it, and they're swarming around.
Okay, so none of them are really within 5 feet of each other?
I think that would be very difficult for creatures of this size to pull off while flying like this.
Fair. Okay. Then approach another 35 feet and then attack twice. With disadvantage because I'm very far away. That is only a 12. And the second attack is a 17.
Both of those will actually hit.
All right.
Yeah, they're not very armored, these guys.
And I am... how many of them are injured?
Just one. Just the one that Mr. Tibbles attacked last time.
I thought I heard something about them bouncing. So that's the one that I would focus on.
Yes, as a result of it being hit with so much fire this last turn, it has actually dropped a little bit in midair as it was kind of trying to mitigate that and put itself out. So it is actually one of the closest to you.
Okay. And are they monstrosities?
They are indeed.
Okay. Then the first one is going to be 9 plus 7 for 16 points of damage.
Okay, it does not even remotely see this coming. It is glaring daggers ahead with vigor and vinegar and whatever the source of the Chaos Bolt was. You can't tell the source either from your position. And it opens its mouth to shriek with rage, and it is stopped by an arrow that lodges itself directly in its throat. And it begins to tumble directly from the air.
All right, then the next one would go towards whoever is in the lead. And that is going to be a 13.
Didn't you already roll a 17 for the second one, or did you...
Oh, no. Revised Ranger, Hunter's Prey. If a creature is below its hit point maximum, I deal an extra 1d8.
So it hits, but it does not quite find quite as much success as the last bolt. You strike the shoulder of what is now the lead of these creatures. A thin shriek of pain, but it does not bring the creature down.
And then I'll tell my little buddy, keep on down here in the ground. I'll slow down for you. I don't want to draw too much attention now.
Okay, really quick. Please make an animal handling check. The reason will become clear in a moment.
That's only an 11.
Okay, then.
Unless you want me to roll at advantage because I fed it.
Well, here's the thing. You did feed it, but it is also still starving and malnourished, and it just witnessed a edible creature fall from the air, already lightly flambéed, tumbling towards what could potentially be its gaping maw. It's actually going to start heading upward. Sorry about that. He has a movement speed of 80 while flying, so it's going to be a turn or two before it actually becomes any kind of problem. If at all. Okay, Donnie's turn.
So how far away are they now?
80 feet.
80 feet, okay. Cool. So I am going to cast Firebolt at whichever one is the closest to me.
Remember to be careful.
So that was a 19 on the die and 26 to hit.
Okay. So just a little piece of advice when using fire spells in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Don't crit fail.
Noted.
Noted.
Does that hit?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So that's 15 damage.
Alrighty, you deal 15 damage.
And I'm still flying the ship.
Oh, it's an action to fly the ship.
Oh, okay.
You already used the...
I guess I'm not flying the ship then.
So yeah, the ship, having knocked you all over the previous turn, shudders as Donnie lets go of the controls to launch his attack, and now slowly begins sinking again.
I will fix that on my next turn.
Okay.
Oh wait, no. I will fix it on the turn after that.
Okay. Brother Chell starts patting down his pockets, and eventually he seems to find what he's looking for. He pulls out a prayer book and starts flipping through it like,
that one requires my staff. What about... No, that one too. Does anybody require any healing? No? Okay.
He spends his turn desperately trying to find something he can do without his staff. The wings of the harpies pump vigorously, and they finally manage to, with great effort, draw level with your ship. As they swoop down towards y'all, one or two of them actually don't make it all the way because they were a little bit further back than all the others from the start. They do not actually swoop up to attack you guys. They swoop up and start attacking the envelope of the skiff.
Oh, crap.
They start attacking the balloon. They start tearing and clawing at the physical canvas of the balloon envelope.
Rude.
Sure fucking is, bud. And if you thought the lurch before was bad, you could feel the skiff immediately start dropping a bit faster than it was before. And meanwhile, all the while, that same luring song is still issuing from their throats. Just a nasty little chorus.
We change our mind, and the first in line. I apologize for nothing.
Wow.
No, that's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Well, the one up above bites and scratches into the envelope, and you can actually hear the sound of whistling winds issuing from the hole, and as it gouges a large hole in the side. So the ship is dropping fast. It is not yet at a deadly terminal speed yet, but it is dropping. Kibo, it is your turn.
I'm going to... So I can reach this one to attack it?
Yes, you absolutely can. It's above you. I'll say it has partial cover because it's actually slightly behind the curve of the balloon's envelope as it sweeps up.
Alright, so what does that mean?
Oh, that's on my end. That just means that it has a small bonus to AC. It's a +2 to AC.
Alright, fair enough. I'm gonna attack it with my Warhammer. A natural 20.
Hot diggity damn it.
That's a 4 on the die, so that become 8, 8, 9, so 11 points of damage.
All right.
So that's the first attack. Second attack on it, a 20, dirty 20.
Surely hits.
All right. And then after I do this attack, I am going to use one of my combat maneuvers to make this a grappling strike. And that's going to, that is going to be another 11 points of damage because it was an 8 on the die, so 22 points of damage. And then I am going to spend one of my superiority dice. Immediately after you hit a creature with a melee attack on your turn, you can expend one superiority dice to then try to grapple the target as a bonus action. Add the superiority dice to your strength athletics check.
Okay.
So I will roll a strength athletics check, and we'll add a d8 to it.
All right, and that'll go up against the athletics or acrobatics check of the creature.
Correct.
Which is pretty good, so, roll high.
Well, I rolled a 15 on the die, plus 6. That makes it a 21, and then an extra d8 will make it 25.
Excellent. Okay, that was a 19 on the die for our feathered friend here. All right, so a grappling strike. So tell me, what does that look like in this circumstance?
So, it kind of only being able to see, the lower parts of it, I basically kind of, whack it in one of its knees. And between the strike of the being hit in the knee and probably looking down to see what's going on, Kibo then takes the hammer, and the second strike is less striking it with the flat end and more kind of whipping it up and catching it in the back of the head between the handle and the hammer part of the head, and just kind of basically pulling it towards him, and then basically giving it a hug between the shield and my body. And that's how I'm holding on.
All right, so if you will, you are now the bread of a harpy sandwich.
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Anything else?
I kill it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I mean, it just dies. I don't know.
I will take a step with it to here to drag it with me. So
you pull it and you drag it screaming down
Yep.
underneath the envelope of the ship.
Yep. And that will be my turn.
All right, it is the pilot's turn. All he gets to do is roll again. That is a natural 1. He watches the pretty colors.
Oh, at least someone's having a nice time.
Okay, Mr. Tibbles. The ship is a-rockin' and these guys are bothering knocking. What you gonna do?
I want to set them on fire. I'm going to cast Magic Missile at 2nd level.
Okay.
I forgot I had it. So I get 4 missiles. And if I remember correctly, Magic Missile just hits.
It sure does.
Yeah.
Roll your damage and also tell me your target.
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 that are above me. One that's in our ship, and then one that Aust took down, correct?
Yeah, these two right here are on top of the envelope, as you say. And this one up here specifically is on top of the envelope and out of range of melee.
So I think I'm going to do 2 and 2. These 2 dips.
1, 2.
I will roll some real dice for a change. That's a D8. You are in the wrong spot, my guy. Okay. So the one on top takes 5 points of missile damage. And the other guy also takes 5. They both take 5.
Okay. All right, guys, take 5.
So they leave to take a break.
They just fuck off.
They leave. Union rules. You understand.
Maybe a coffee break.
This one right here, actually, as it gets a little bit closer, you can see that there's a streak of red and an arrow that's still quivering in its shoulder. So you've got that going for
I
you.
hope it's quivering. That's usually where arrows go.
Oh my god! Can we been done?
Stole my arrow!
Okay. So is there anything else you would like to do or are able to do?
I don't think so.
Okay, Aust, it is your turn. You are watching this unnatural sky ship sort of bucking and kicking in midair as as the harpies would seem to be swarming and attacking what looks like a balloon on top of it.
I'll tell you, that ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
Are these two actually 5 feet from each other?
Yes, on the diagonal.
Okay.
Like, this one right here is a little higher up.
And are either of these two... Which one got hit by the missiles?
These two that are a little further out, not these ones that are attached to the skiff.
Got it. Okay. I am going to cast Hail of Thorns. So if I hit one, then the other one takes damage as well. But let's see as I aim for that one.
Okay.
12, which does hit, if I remember.
It sure does.
And is it uninjured?
These two out here are both injured. They both got hit by missiles. Yeah, both of these that are clinging to the side of the envelope have not been touched.
Well, not anymore. So the one I hit takes 12 damage, and then they both take 8 damage or half damage on a dexterity save.
Oh, I see. So you need dexterity saves. Okay.
Yep. And that is a 14.
Okay, so the first one that you hit makes a save. The second one fails.
Okay.
Okay, so
And
that's 4 for one and 8 for the other?
Right. And
Okay.
the first one did take 12 points of damage total.
Yeah, so he's looking a little peaky.
All right. And the second attack, that is an 11.
That 11 just barely hits.
Okay. All right. And since it is damaged, Colossus Slayer goes off. So that is going to be another 13 points of damage.
Okay, and was that for the first one that you hit last time as well?
Yep.
Okay, arrows and spells are slinging up from the ground beyond your view and hitting these harpies that are on the side of the envelope, which is becoming slicked with harpy blood. That's what everyone up top sees. Is there anything else that Aust would like to do?
Move another 35 feet and end my turn.
Excellent.
I also play this trap card face down.
I don't know that reference. It is cat turn.
Okay, how badly is the ship doing?
It is sinking a great deal faster than it was before. Not quite plummeting. Not at like a critical terminal level. The rate is not speeding up particularly either.
Okay. I am judging that getting the harpies away from the ship then is more important than trying to make any adjustments to the controls at this point. So I am going to create an Eldritch Cannon in the space directly to my left.
Okay.
It is a small object. It basically looks like a portal turret, but steampunk style.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
And then with my bonus action, so that was my action. With my bonus action, I am going to have the Eldritch Cannon activate its Force Ballista ability.
So what does that look like? Does that just sort of like appear out of thin air as a material object?
Yeah.
Okay. Artificers, man.
Mm-hmm. So that's a 26 to hit.
Definitely hits. Which one are you aiming for?
I am going to be aiming for this one. Yeah, so the range on that is 120 feet. So that is 12 damage.
What kind of damage?
Force damage. Yeah, and it's pushed 5 feet away.
Excellent. All right, so it's a bonus action and an action. What else you want to do?
I don't think I don't really want to move. Yeah, then I'm done.
All right, Brother Chell.
Let me do something.
And he pulls out a crossbow. Just a little hand crossbow that he has. And he takes aim, and he... Oh, I thought that was a natural one. No, that's a 7 on the die. For an 8.
Nice.
I bought this at a shopping mall.
But an 8 will not hit, unfortunately. The arrow whizzes out past these guys right here. And it is the Harpies' turns again. The ones in the back finally reach the skiff. They are going to land a little further up on the envelope, having learned the lesson from the previous ones. They arc upward as they approach, and they land above you out of reach of melee attacks and partially protected from ranged. This one right here is actually going to start crawling up and out of sight.
Ah, fuck.
Now, there is rigging. The entire envelope is crisscrossed with ropes and such, so It's your call what you want to do with that information.
Oh, that's true.
And they start tearing at the envelope as well, and the ship dips even lower and starts picking up speed. Now you're starting to get the impression that this is going to be less of a hard landing and more of a crash sort of situation.
Oh dear.
At this point, the skiff is about 400 feet in the air and dropping.
Is this one going to try to escape?
Yes, that is exactly what it is going to do.
All right, so I will make a athletics check.
Go for it.
Ooh, that's only a 15.
And that's only a 12.
Oh.
So, yeah, it struggles to get free. It scratches at you with its claws. And you notice as it does that its face, though human-like, lacks the spark of intelligence. And it just sort of shrieks mindlessly at you and attempts to bury its teeth in what it would hope to be flesh, but actually turns out to be the metal carapace of your warforged armor. It just kind of scrapes off.
When it's grappled, can I still attack it with my weapon?
Hell yes.
All right. Bop.
Do that. Go for it.
That is a 17.
17, yeah, definitely hits.
That is 5 points of damage.
All right, so you just sort of hold it at arm's length for half a second by the scruff of its neck and just give it a whack. Not so much hitting it with the hammer as you are bringing the face of the creature to the hammer, but it is still wiggling.
I'm just basically like symbol monkey symbols, like. Okay, so it's still alive.
Correct.
Whack. That's even higher this time. So. All right, so second whack is another 5 points of damage.
All right, this thing is on death's door straight up. It doesn't even have much of a face left.
Action surge. Whack.
Okay, we doing it.
All right, so that's gonna hit. It was like a 12 on the die and an 11 hit last time. So 4 points of damage.
4 points of damage, and it is done. Just like bam, bam, bam. And finally, the front of the face of this creature, which like has been dented by what you've been doing to it so far, finally just cracks, and the creature squeaks and just falls sort of limp in your hands.
Unceremoniously let it go. Go to this rigging here and start climbing up.
All right, you find purchase in the rope, and you start pulling yourself up onto the envelope, and you are able to move.
I can go up to 30. Let me know if I get.
That's your walking speed. Tell me, do an athletics check just to determine how far you can get while climbing. You're not in danger of falling off or anything.
21.
21. Hell yeah, you could do your full movement.
Yeah, so I will climb until I'm within melee range of another one of these things, and I will take my last attack.
Okay, go for it.
So
fucking fighters, man.
Yeah, so I assume it's this one right here. So a whack. That is a 19 on the die, so that's going to be damage. So that's 11 points of damage. I am going to spend a second superiority dice to grapple check again as a bonus action. That is a natural 20 on the grapple. Yeah, so that is total. That is going to be a 26, 30.
Yeah, it'll hit
33.
Yeah, you probably
33.
Have to do
I wanted to do the math. It was 33. This one is severely grappled.
Indeed. So how does this work? How do you figure this works?
Basically, I hit it in the back so hard that there's enough of an indent for my hammer that I'm able to pull it down and then go into the harpy sandwich with the metal bread.
Yeah, it shrieks in a loud panic as you drag it back across the surface of the envelope. This is like a horror movie for these creatures right now. You're like a horror movie monster. And it's Mr. Tibble's turn.
Great, awesome. I think I'm gonna do another Chaos Bolt. This time at 2nd level. I'm also going to use a sorcery point, my meta magic.
Okay, so just in the interest of full disclosure, Sam, these ones that you're aiming at here are sort of most of the way around the edge of the balloon. They're going to have 3/4 cover. They're going to be harder to hit.
Shit, okay. So can I start to climb up over the rigging as well?
You absolutely can. Give me an athletics check. Once again, you are not in danger of falling. It's just to see how far you can get.
I'm not even looking to get terribly far. Maybe just far enough that I can
just to get like a regular shot, yeah.
Yeah. That is a 14.
Yeah, with a 14, you're not going to be able to get your full movement. You're not going to be able to go up as impressively as Kibo did. But I will say that you can get half your movement on the rigging. So you haven't moved at all at this point. You just reach up, pull yourself onto the rigging. I believe your movement speed is 30, right?
It is,
So you get 15 feet of movement in the rigging. So wherever you want to go, wherever you want to end up in that range.
Mm-hmm. And so I can hit all of them now?
Let's see, if you end up right here, yeah. The problem is that you end up in melee distance of this one. There's no real spot where you can end up within your range where you won't end up in the melee range of this one or this one. But you do have full line of sight on all of these creatures.
Okay. So I'm going to target this one, and I'm going to use a sorcery point.
Fancy.
And I have the twinned spell. Yeah. So I'm going to hit this one, and then this one.
Okay.
With the chaos.
All right, make them roll.
The first one. Yikes.
Yikes.
Cool. It's cool. I'm cool. It's cool. We're all cool. It's cool.
It's fine. We're fine here.
It's fine. Everything's fine. So the first one to hit is a 21. First, I rolled a 4 and a 1. So let's see what kind of damage I gave them. Either acid or force. I'm going to use force damage.
Use the force.
Yeah. And it is 2d6s to add to that. I got max damage on both of those dice. Holy shit. So that is 18 points of damage, of force damage on the first one.
18 points. All right, you just blast half the feathers off of this creature's body in a cloud, and you hear something crack. But it is still clinging to the side. It just looks down at you, and it glares, and it shrieks with this inhuman noise. Okay, the second one.
I give it a middle finger and then go to target the second
Middle finger? That's the somatic component.
That is also a 21 to hit. It's 15 plus 6. Then it is 2d8. Oh, I got 2 ones! It means I get to target another one. If you roll the same number on both d8s, the chaotic energy leaps.
Whoa. That's wild.
Yeah,
I have that spell too.
Leaps to a different creature to your choice within 30 feet of it. So I'm going to go, I'm going to finish this guy.
Okay.
So it's only 2 points of acid damage for now. I still have to roll the 2d6s, but then I'll get to do it again on this guy.
Okay.
Also 2 ones. So it's 4 points of acid damage total on that middle one.
Okay, only 4? That's fine. Didn't like that. It's not world-ending, but it didn't like that.
It didn't like that, thanks. 6.
6 does not.
7, but it is a
Yeah, 7 does not hit either, actually.
It's a good run.
Aust, down on the ground, you gotta kind of dodge aside a little bit as sprinkles of acid fall down on you like the world's worst April showers.
What the hell?
Damn cities. Acid rain.
And then I do have a bonus action I'd like to use if that's okay.
What's the bonus action?
I would like to use Rabbit Hop. As a bonus action, you can jump 15 feet without provoking opportunity attacks. So I would like to jump down.
Okay, so you basically just suddenly let go of the rope and slip from sight. Your feet come into contact with the guard that covers the mechanism of this stabilizer fin here. And you suddenly pivot and launch yourself more laterally, and you tumble to the ground and up onto your feet, basically on top of this dead harpy on the deck.
Okay.
Anything else?
I think that was more than enough.
All right, Ost's turn.
All right. So, they really need to find themselves one of them clean burning fuel sources, tell you what. So I'm going to do another Hail of Thorns. I'm going to run it at this guy again. That's going to be a 20 plus, which does hit, for 15 points of damage.
Holy shit.
And only 2. So 2 damage to everybody in that line, parting a dexterity save for half.
Oh, I don't know if it's worth it, but I'll do it. Both of those fail. It was a DC of 14, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Right, is that one still flying?
No, that one is toast.
Right, and this one is grappled, if I remember.
Yes.
This one's very hurt.
This one looks like the aftermath of a Thanksgiving dinner.
I'm going to leave that one to them because it sounds like they can actually see that one. I'm going to attack this one. So that's actually a 23. 13 points of damage on that far end one.
Very nice.
Then I'll continue moving another 35 feet and end my turn.
All right, at this point, you're about as close laterally as you can possibly get. It's actually coming down towards you faster than you're moving towards it.
Ooh, so maybe no disadvantage next time.
That actually, it's within 400 feet of you right now, but it's increasing fast.
150 is the range.
Oh, the first range increment? Yeah, gotcha. Donnie's turn.
Okay. How's the ship doing?
The ship is moving downwards at an alarming rate.
Okay, I am going to attempt to course correct that. My sheet cooperates. Okay, so that's an int saving throw. It's a 16.
Suddenly, looking at the controls, things kind of click for you. One of the dials that you thought had to do with forward momentum actually seems to do with upward thrust and buoyancy. And you start working that as you know it should be worked. What exactly do you want to do with the ship at this point?
I just want to pull it out of the nosedive and level it off.
All right, anybody watching will see that these stabilizers sort of slap open, and some of them are angled downward so that as the wind comes up at you, it actually creates an upward lift. You're still falling, but it's no longer dangerous.
Okay, cool. And then for my bonus action, I am going to, once again, activate the Eldritch Cannon's Force Ballista.
Okay, what's your target?
Okay, so I'm going to go after the one that still has cover. So
That's got 3/4.
Yeah, so that was a 23 to hit.
Wow, yeah, no, okay, that hits.
Damage is 11.
With a sonic rending of air, you just blast this thing off the side, and it just starts wordlessly plummeting to the ground. It is no longer amongst the living.
Ooh, okay.
Anything else for you?
I think that's it.
Brother Chell.
Hold up, let me get it in my sights. I can't quite see it.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, dear.
All right, well, he just made it worse. All right, the whole skiff bobs and dips again as Brother Chell tries to take aim at one of the creatures clinging to the envelope and misses, sending an arrow into the envelope and back out the top, creating 2 holes. And you lose just a little bit of the ground that Donnie bought you on his last turn.
Oopsie.
Donovan takes a free action to swear in Cairo.
Well, that was uncalled for, I think.
The remaining harpies look from one another to their compatriot who is spiraling and dwindling down into the abyss. This one is actually just going to cut and run. It's just going to take off into the far distance. And this one is going to try. It is going to try and escape Kibo's iron grip. Can I please get an athletics check from Kibo?
All right. Ooh, that's only an 8.
That is a 10.
Okay.
So such is its moment of panic that it is actually finally able to escape your robotic grasp and starts to wing
attack
away.
Of opportunity.
It does indeed.
That is a 16.
You know that hits.
All right, and
I don't even think you're capable of not unaliving it.
Sentinel
But
makes it not move.
it has 2 hit points left.
Okay, so I rolled a 2 on the die, but it wasn't gonna move anyways because of Sentinel, and then it was gonna be my turn. And I was gonna bop it.
So as it wings over the edge, you actually just end up propelling it downward further, and now only one single harpy lives to screech again. That is, unless it's got a little ways before it's out of range. So if you guys want to take some pot shots at it, then that's up to you.
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
it's my turn next. Can I put my hammer away and take out my crossbow?
You could basically drop your hammer and pull it out. I think if putting it away neatly would be just too much action out of the economy there.
Yeah, so I'll climb down so I'm properly on the deck. Put down my hammer.
Oh yeah.
Put down my hammer so I don't lose it. Pull out my crossbow and fire twice.
Okay.
Actually, I don't think I can fire a crossbow twice, but I'm gonna fire my crossbow.
I'll say that this guy's just about 100 feet away from you right now. So it is going to be a disadvantage, I'm afraid.
So that would be 15.
Yeah, 15 will hit, yeah.
Oh, that's full damage of 9 points.
Yeah, give it something to remember you by in its shoulder there, but it's not enough to bring it down. And instantly, as soon as this creature stops singing and moves out of range of you all, Piotr suddenly awakes up from his stupor and says,
What happened? Where are we? What's up?
Hobbies happened.
Oh, bugger.
It would be drive the damn plane.
Oh, blazes. Oh, it's all messed up, isn't it? Move out of the way, kitty.
Yeah, no worries. You got a patch kit, we got a hole.
Oh, we got some patches well enough, but we're heading down too fast to deal with it.
Oh, crap.
Oh, crap is right. Hold up, everybody, grab onto something.
At this point, would anybody else like to take a shot at the receding harpy? Mr. Tibbles first, and then Aust, if either please. Just if you want to, you don't have to.
No, I don't want to do anything.
Oh, you don't want to do anything? Okay, you're good. What about Aust?
Yep, I'll waste the arrows.
As you please. Okay, it is a little further away, winging off.
As long as it's within 600 feet.
Yeah, no, I couldn't possibly get further than 500 feet away from you.
All right. Well, 12's the lowest there, so...
Yep, you've nailed it.
5, 16... So 30 points of damage from 2 different arrows.
Holy fucking shit.
Holy shit.
You hear a squawking off in the distance, and you see an explosion of feathers as 2 arrows, one right after the other. Or are you doing it like Robin Hood Men in Tights style, with both of them together? Which one tickles your pickle there?
Aust isn't being fancy. He doesn't need to impress these folk.
Yep, and this sucker goes down screaming. By the way, at this point, the Griffon has caught up with the first one to fall, and just sort of catches its charred body in between 2 claws, and starts tearing at its flesh in midair. And then it sort of idly turns its head this way and that, and it notes that other harpies are falling down around it in a rain, and it has this look on its face that you can interpret as, I must have died and gone to Griffin heaven.
We're eating good tonight, boys.
They're either going to fall or they're not, so I'm going to go towards the Griffon.
Yeah, so you head towards the Griffon. Yeah, the skiff is still actively falling. But with Piotr now conscious and at the wheel, at the helm there, he is not only able to slow the descent considerably, he is also able to start directing the skiff down among the hills. It is starting to nosedive a little bit. Y'all are going to have to hold on pretty tightly. Towards kind of an open area between 2 hills and away from trees and other objects you might hit. The forward momentum helps it so that it's a forward hit and it's not just a direct downward hit. After what you could consider to be a few solid rounds of combat, the entire skiff skids to a halt in a trough between several hills. It's extremely bumpy, it's extremely disturbing, and y'all might be coming away from this with a complex. But after a moment, there is creaking and there is cracking, and the now nearly flaccid envelope coming down around you, but the skiff skids to a halt. You guys are on the ground, and you did not take any damage this time.
Second that it touches ground, I am hopping out.
Well, that was fun. Let's never do that again.
Yeah, I don't think you guys are going to be allowed to anymore. That was terrible. Is that an arrow hole I see? Did one of you shoot at it? Criminy!
I would like to, perhaps upon our return to Guildkeep, I think that a sit-down meeting with a supervisor of some kind would be required, as this entirely was directly caused by you.
Well, how do you figure that it's entirely my fault? I'm one of the most senior engineers in the entire city. I was here when the first skiffs were built all this time ago. And I will not be...
Yeah, not to tack out a turn, bud, but aren't earmuffs like standard PPE on these things because you're going through Harpy territory?
Well, Harpies never come down this far south.
Yeah, but it's still standard SOP.
Listen, I need to get this thing back up and running. I ain't got time for this.
Okay, have fun filling out
And
that incident report, bud.
I very much need to guarantee that this isn't going to result in any sort of disciplinary or legal action towards us.
Oh no, this is...
As it was, again, a situation of your machinations.
Also, that is not an arrow hole. That is a crossbow hole.
Like I said, it is standard SOP for earmuffs to be worn at least around the neck of the pilot when going anywhere near Harpy territory. They were not. It is clearly Harpy damage. We have eyewitness testimony for that. We might have to go in and fill out some paperwork for the incident report, but before we go in.
Aust, After just a few moments, your Griffon friend who is hovering above you seems to have eaten his fill of this sky snack that has befallen him, and he sort of wipes his beak on his chest feathers, and he rejoins you on the ground. You can hear the sound of familiar voices squabbling not far away from you. Upon cresting a few more hills, you come into sight of the smoking remains of this strange sky ship. And all of your would-be companions kind of standing around in the wreckage. Some of them more stoic and silent than others.
All right, I'm gonna gently say to the Griffin, now these are friends. They ain't gonna hurt you, so please don't try to eat them.
He just kind of blinks at you without understanding.
Then I'm gonna yell and try to get their attention. Hey, what happened to taking a skiff?
What indeed?
Oh my god, I want to respond, but that's the perfect end for this
Oh,
episode.
that really
Like,
is
I'm
the
sorry.
perfect ending. Like, I'm perfectly willing to leave it right there.
Yeah.
Donovan mutters guano head under his breath in Cairo. Kaiwo.
Okay.
You stupid guano head. Woo.
Oh, hey, it's 6 o'clock. We can be done now.
If you do that with a growly voice, it sounds like Tim the Toolman Taylor. Tim the Toolman Taylor is just the ooh-woo voice for Dude Bros.
God. Oh my god.
Okay.
I think I'm getting physically
That
ill.
much is cursed.
Do you have any like chaining spells to hit multiple of them at once?
Sure wish I did, bud. Now I'm looking for one. I don't think I do. No, I don't.
You're okay.
Nope. I do.
That's what you're gonna say to Kyle.
Oh, you're so cute. That's funny.
Question about 5e. I can move 30 feet, but I'm in heavy armor. Does that slow me down at all?
If you are proficient in the armor, you have nothing to worry about.
It's literally my body, so.
Oh, well, who's really proficient in their own body?
Whew, I don't have any.
Damn, that was just that was too real there, bud. So 15 to 15 and a 12. All right, you guys.
Oh, no,
Sort of feel-
19.
Sorry, 19 to 15 and a 12. All right.
Oh, Dan
you
also
guys-
got a
yeah.
19. 19.
19 and a... Okay, it doesn't matter.
It
because
might matter.
It does not matter.
But it
Um,
might.
You guys
I'll stop.
It
immediately-
might.
fall off of the skiff and die. Sorry, guys. Great game. All right.
Damn, it worked.
Joke's on you!
guys-
I made another character that can't die! Woo!
Damn, it worked. Now we unleash the bards.
La 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 la. I would be near the pilot because I'm suggesting to Brother Shell to slap him as a form of medicine.